Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to give you a workout that will absolutely tone your abs and glutes and give you better balance and overall strength for everything else in your life. So setting up for today's workout, you just want to make sure you've got enough space to stretch your body all the way out and maybe make a bit of a snow angel. For equipment, make sure that you do have something you can lay underneath you to protect your joints. And if you have sensitive knees, make sure you've got an extra towel to support them. I'm also going to use a foam roller to support myself in one of the stretches, but you could use either a wall or a sturdy chair. And then finally, you'll want a looped resistance band. And then of course, don't forget your water. And if all you have is your body weight and a towel today, you're still gonna get an amazing workout. If you need to pause and take extra breaks, please do that. And if you need more intensity, go through this workout twice. But I have a feeling that first time through, you're really gonna feel this. So we're gonna start off our workout with a brief warm up. So I'm gonna start out on all fours and we're gonna do an exercise called bird dog. I wanna make sure that my wrists are right underneath my shoulders. My knees are right underneath my hips. I'm gonna draw the belly button in. I'm gonna lift my opposite hand and my opposite foot. I'm really trying to press through the heel and the fingertips and control back and forth. So controlling on the way out, drawing the belly button in as I press through the heel and the fingertips, and then controlling that lower back down. Lifting the left hand as I press through the right heel, lifting the right hand as I press through the left heel. So we're getting opposites to wire together here. So let's try one more on each side. I'm really trying to draw the belly button in as I lift and control on the lower back down. Great work. So next, I'm going to come into a half kneeling position. Remember, use your towel under your knee if you need a little bit more support. And then I'm going to use my roller on the other side to give myself a little bit of balance support here. So you could, remember, use a wall or a chair. You just want to make sure it's not something that's going to move on you. I'm going to draw my belly button in as I shift my hips forward. And then I'm also going to reach up and over with that arm. So I should feel a pretty good stretch in my belly, in through my abs, because I'm kind of drawing in here. I'll feel it a little bit in the front of the hip. And then I'm also going to feel it in that side of the body that I'm reaching away from. So in through the hip, I should feel it in the obliques, the side wall of the abs. So try one more like that. And then go ahead and let yourself transition to the other side. So setting up here, I'm just going to make sure that my foot is a little ahead of my knee so that when I draw my belly button in and shift forward, my knee kind of lines up with my ankle, or maybe just a little forward, but it's not like going past my toe. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on that front knee. So drawing the belly button in, I'm going to reach up and over. So I should get a pretty good stretch all throughout the side of my body with this. I should feel this a little bit in the front of the hip or the thigh. It kind of just depends on what's tight. None of us moves perfectly symmetrically. So just kind of be patient. We're trying to get things in good alignment for our exercise. And you never want to force this. Think about giving yourself like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 for intensity. This is just the warm up, remember? All right, so we're going to set up for a last warm up exercise here. I'm going to do a basic glute bridge. So I'm going to bring the palms right beside my hips. I'm going to draw the belly button in, squeeze the glutes, and raise the hips. Now with this, I want to make sure that my feet are pretty straight, that I don't have one head of the other. And I can just put my weight in through my heels, but even better is if I can balance it between the balls of my feet and my heels. So we're really evenly getting things stretched out. I want to make sure that my hips aren't shifting to the left or to the right. If one of my hips feels a little tighter in front, or I feel some tightness in the front or back of the thigh, then I'm just gonna go to the point where I start to feel that and lower back down. So not trying to push one side into submission. So try that again. Draw the belly button in, squeeze the glutes, raise the hips, feel that stretch, and then control on the way back down. Great job. Hopefully you're warmed up and ready to go. Grab some water and we're gonna start our workout. I'm going to start out with an exercise called Clamshells. So I want to put the band right above my knees. Setting up for my clamshell, I'm going to lay all the way down onto my side. If this feels uncomfortable for your neck, feel free to support it with your towel or your roller. And then I'm going to bend my knees and approximately line the feet up with my back. Next, I really want to draw the belly button in, and most importantly, I want to roll my hips forward. This is the number one mistake with this exercise. If I leave the knees level, this is going to feel really different. So make sure you roll that top hip forward, pull your belly in, and then we're going to lift and lower the knee. So I'm keeping my feet together. I can push into that top foot a little bit if I need to, but I really want to use that outer hip strength. Those are the booty muscles. You've got 3 in there working hard for you right now. So draw the belly button in, squeeze your glutes as you raise the knee, and then control that lower back down. You can tell when you've got that hip rolled forward, you are not going to be able to lift that knee really, really high. As soon as I do that, I roll back. So these muscles control our side to side motion, which is why we're making that knee stay in place. So try a couple more reps, practicing that form, and then go ahead and turn over and switch sides. So I'm going to set up on that second side exactly like I did on the first side. Approximately line the heels up with my back, draw the belly button in, and then roll that top hip forward a little bit. Now, you can bend your knees a lot or a little bit for this. It really just depends on your flexibility and what you're feeling in your hip. So some of us are really going to have to bend the knees and bring them up in order to feel this in the glutes. And then others of us will be able to have a little bit straighter of a leg, still keeping that top hip rolled forward, and feel this in the glutes. So try it both ways. See what works best for you and your body. The way I remember form with this is that I want to make sure my clam has an overbite. So that front knee, as I bring it down, is always going to be a little forward of the bottom knee. Even if you're not raising the knee up really high, your tush should be on fire. If your butt is already burning, you are on the right track, my friend. If you're feeling it in the front upper part of your hip, instead that's your TFL turning on, I would recommend pausing this video, going to one of my rolling videos, which I will link below, and then coming back to this exercise. I'm going to stick with the same band for our next 2 exercises. I'm going to bring the band around the balls of my feet this time, or all the way down to my arches, kind of depending on your foot length and how this feels to you. So setting up for this, I'm going to draw my belly button in, and then I'm going to bring my knees right above my hips. And the rule with this is that I can't bring my back off the ground. So if your back's already off the ground, pull your knees back, pull your belly in. Make sure you've zeroed out almost all of the space there, or all the space. And then bring the knees over hips. And you should already feel that it's difficult to hold your legs here. And then I'm going to alternatively press one heel and press the opposite fingertips back. So drawing the belly button in, giving your booty a squeeze if you can feel those muscles already. And then I want to keep the ankle, knee, and hip in a nice straight line. Easier said than done, right? This exercise is called dead bug, and when done properly, it is an ab and a leg burner. You don't want that back to come off the floor. So really try to find that happy medium where you can really feel that burn in the abs and in the legs, but you can also take the tension off the low back. We always want to make sure that challenge is appropriate. So if you need a little less intensity, back off a little bit. If you need a little more intensity, Lower those heels a little bit further, straighten the legs. Not every rep has to be at the same intensity. So just challenge yourself in your own lane, whatever feels like a challenge to you today. And before you know it, you're going to be able to do that full range of motion. Our last exercise in this circuit is a high plank with side toe taps. Now, this is a hard exercise even without a resistance band. So if you want to try the first round without it, be my guest. So setting up for my plank, I'm going to start in an all fours position. I want to pull my shoulder blades down, pull my belly in, and I'm going to give each fingertip a job. I'm actually going to think about twisting my arms in towards one another. And what that really will do is light up the back, the shoulders, and the triceps. So hopefully you can kind of see that light up in my shoulders and triceps. And then I'm going to pull the belly in, squeeze my booty, and shift the hips forward. And then I'm going to push up to the toes. So now I should really feel this in my back, in my abs, in my glutes, pretty much everywhere. Now from here, engaging everything, this is where I'm going to take those taps to the side. Yes, this is an abs and glute workout, but who doesn't want to tone the rest of their body while they're working out? Try 1 or 2 more on each side, keeping the hips level. Nice. So let's try that with the band. So I'm going to put the looped band around the arches of my feet. Now, sometimes when you flip around into plank, it's going to come off. So just do your best here. If you need to pause this, get a handle on it, and then come back, no worries. So I'm going to come into that plank the same way. Pull the shoulders down, pull the abs in. And the other cue here, I would shift your sternum right between your thumbs. That's going to really set you up to feel this in the upper abs as well. So this is probably going to feel a lot easier on one side versus the other. We are not a balanced system of muscles. This is actually a really good exercise for improving your balance, believe it or not, because the lower abs and the glutes play a big role in balance. So just be patient with your body. If it doesn't feel the same left to right, that is totally normal. Now I'm going to be honest, as someone with really long legs, I don't really use a more resistant band than what we just did. I actually just up the intensity by increasing my speed. Again, I don't want to do that at the cost of compromising my form. So just do what feels good in your body. If it's 1 tap on each side and a rest break in between, that is still great. Every rep counts. So the secret here that shouldn't be a secret is that planks are actually an exercise where I should feel my butt muscles. So if you're not used to feeling them, we're going to really make sure that we do today. Nice work. I'm already feeling this workout in my abs and glutes. How about you? Go ahead and grab some water and we're going to do our next exercise. So we're going to do a sit-up and I'm actually going to use the band between my hands. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to pull it apart a little bit. So if you come onto your back, and you pull the band apart a little bit, what you should feel is just a little bit of activation in your chest. So go ahead and draw your abs in and then do that. That's what we want to trigger. So we want to use the upper abs like that in our sit-up. So I'm actually going to start from a seated position and I'm going to look up and forward because I don't want to be cramping the shoulders and neck while I do this. So I'm going to draw the abs in. I'm going to pull my band apart and continue keeping the band kind of in front of my eyes as I control that lower down. Now, it's actually harder to do a controlled lower down than it is to flop. So I would encourage you to really make that eccentric phase, that roll down, nice and slow. And then coming up, I've got a couple options here. I could either take my hands and put them overhead, draw my belly button in, and then use the momentum of my arms to help me swing myself up. I could just drop the band, bring the knees in, and push through the heels and get up kind of like I'm on a swing set. But if you've been working out for a while and your abs are pretty strong, challenge yourself not only to control that eccentric lower down, but also really draw the abs in as you sit up. If you need to make this a little harder, you can move the heels closer to your butt The closer my heels are to my hips, the harder this will be. And the further away I bring them, the easier this will be. So just adjust to wherever your body's at today. I'm going to draw my belly button in, squeeze my glutes, and push through my feet to help myself come up. So on that lower down, I'm going to pull my abs in. I'm going to look towards my band, keep my band right in front of my chin, reaching the arms overhead, using as much or as little momentum as I need to get up. So you can tuck your toes underneath something like a couch to help yourself out here. But if you feel strong enough, really just push through your feet and use your body, your whole body, to bring yourself back up. We're going to try a couple more. You got this. You got this. Home stretch. Keep pushing. Great work. Those are some tough exercises. Go ahead and grab some water before we move on. For this next exercise, I'm going to bring the looped resistance band right above my knees. So just like our bridge, I'm going to lay all the way down onto my back, line up my feet evenly, draw my belly button in. So go ahead and just do the basic bridge, trying to keep the hips, knee, and ankle in a nice straight line. Let yourself lower down. Just kind of remember what that was like, drawing the belly button in, squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips. So now I'm going to lift the hips, and this time I'm going to hold in that position, keep the hips level, and kick one foot out, bring it back in, and then come down. We're going to stay on one leg and really feel the burn, and then move on to the second leg. So whichever side you start on is fine. Just keeping in mind that you should feel this in the lower abs and in the glutes. So that means I really need to draw the belly in before I lift the hips. And I'm also thinking about lifting the hips towards the knees, and that will help me engage the glutes. All right, try one or two more here, just practicing that even lift. Nice work. Go ahead and lower down evenly with control. All right, go ahead and let yourself try that on the second side. So drawing the belly button in, squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips, and then I'm going to straighten that leg, bring it back in, and lower down. So the whole time here, I'm trying to keep that hip, knee, and ankle in a nice straight line. So I should feel this mightily in the front and back side of my leg. I'm also trying to keep the hips level with one another so I don't have left or right hip dipped, and I want to approximately return the feet so that they're even with one another. You might notice that my right heel comes back a little bit further. I am a little bit dominant on that side, and that's really common when we squat or do a bridge. So just be mindful of that in your own workout. Try to make this as even as you can, so that your body feels fantastic afterwards. And make sure you let yourself lower all the way down to the floor. Really draw the belly in and squeeze the glutes before you lift the hips. Make every rep count. That's a tough exercise. Awesome job. So we're going to go through that banded bridge exercise one more time. So I want to bring the band right above my knees. And this time, if you're ready, we're going to add on to it just a little bit. All right, so I'm in that start position, drawing the belly button in. I'm going to squeeze my glutes, push into the palms of the hands, and then lift my hips. So holding in position, I can really feel this in my lower abs, in my glutes. I'm going to lift that leg, and then I'm going to bring it out to the side slightly, bring it back in and down. So you should really feel this in the outside of the hip, in the back of the thigh, in the booty, in the lower abs, everywhere we've been working today. And then remember, if you need to take the band off or you need to just stick with that variation where we just kick the leg out, do that. These reps do not have to be identical. We just want to be progressively building that strength over time. And if you need longer rest breaks, make sure you take that. These do not have to be done at this pace precisely. It really is so much better to do fewer reps with better form than to just rush through this. Make sure you're really feeling it in the muscle groups that we're talking about. I should feel a stretch in the front of my quadriceps as I lift my hips evenly. I should feel even ab engagement before I even lift my hips. I also should have my booty burning on both sides. It's work just to hold my knees apart like this. Wherever you're at, try one more. Dynamite job. And then go ahead and let yourself rest for a moment. You're going to switch to that second side, drawing the belly button in, squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips, kicking the heel out, moving the leg to the side, bringing that heel back in, and lowering the hips down. So remember, I want to keep the hips level here. I want to really work the lower abs and the glutes together. I'm focused on that even lift in the hips, making sure that I'm level left to right, making sure that hip, knee, and ankle are in alignment. And you should really feel this in both butt cheeks, because just holding yourself in a bridge like this with the band trying to pull your knees in, that part in and of itself is work. So don't be afraid to just bring this into a basic bridge whenever you need to. Home stretch, last one, you got it. Give yourself that slow, controlled lower. Great work. Go ahead and grab yourself some water, and we're going to move on to our next exercise. I'm going to set myself up in that high plank position that we used for the toe taps exercise. But if you want to try this in a forearm plank, I'm going to show you that version too. All right, so remembering positioning my wrists right underneath my shoulders, I'm going to pull the shoulders down, pull the belly button in, shift so I have my sternum lined up right between my thumbs, and squeeze my booty. So pushing to the hands, again, I should already feel this all throughout my body. But if you feel up for it, we're going to alternatively lift the heels. So I want to make sure that my toes and heels stay in a nice straight line here. I'm not sagging the hips left to right. I can really feel this mightily in the lower abs and in the glutes. So this might be a little lift. It might be a big lift. It really depends on how your body feels today. So take it one rep at a time. And if you're ready for it, we're going to make that rear leg lift into a butt kick. So go ahead and start in whatever plank variation you feel comfortable in. And if the band was too much the first time, you can absolutely lose that too. I really want to pull the shoulders down. I want to pull the abs in, squeeze my glutes, and then push to the toes. And then go ahead and let yourself alternatively lift the heels. Make sure that the feet are staying nice and straight. I'm going to kick one heel as close to my butt as I can, straighten the legs, set it down, and switch sides. Now, the most important note here, besides keeping the lower abs and glutes engaged to protect the lower back, is to keep the knee, hip, and ankle in a nice straight line so that I'm being nice to my knees. So my knees shouldn't be buckling in towards one another. In fact, if they start to, you're probably going to stop feeling it in the glutes anyway, so you'll know that there's a compromise. And then if you want to try that forearm version, I'm going to actually place my hand palm face down on the floor. This time I'm going to line up my sternum kind of right between my forearms. So I'm going to pull the belly in, squeeze the tush, and then shift into that position. So I'm going to feel this variation a lot more between the shoulder blades. I should still feel it in the lower abs and glutes, but this might be a little more difficult for you to hold your hips level here. So if you want to try a couple here, and then come up onto the hands, there's no shame in that. This is a tough exercise. So as I set my foot down, I'm trying to keep the ankle, knee, and hip in alignment. And then before I lift my other heel, I want to draw my belly in, trying to maintain that level hip position. So if you stop feeling it in the lower abs or in the glutes, or you do start feeling something in your back, make sure you just let the hips come down to the ground. Give yourself a quick child's pose, take a moment or two, and then let yourself push back up. That is how I work out in my real life. When I didn't listen to my body and I just pushed through, that's when I got injured. So if you don't feel like something is right in your body, just stop. Give yourself a little time to recover and then come back into it. That is always better than pushing through and getting injured. Remember that high plank position is always there for you if you need it, or you could also just take this back to the leg lifts. You could remove the band. So many variations. Just make sure that every rep feels really good. You're not feeling tension in your lower back, but you are really working the lower abs and the booty. Nice work. We're just going to try a couple more. You're almost there. Great work. Let yourself come down into that child's pose. Take a couple deep breaths. Just let the nervous system relax. Just think about all the reasons you're doing this for yourself today. We're going to do another variation of the plank. So if you want to, go ahead and place your towel under your knees, just so you're not putting any pressure on them as you go up and down. So I'm going to come into a side kneeling plank on the hand and the knee. I want to really pull in my belly as I extend the arm up, and I'm going to fully straighten the top leg. So if this is already a challenge just to hold this, just draw the belly in, squeeze the glutes, you're good. But if you need a little bit more, we're going to do a side leg lift with this. So I'm going to keep my toes pointed forward, keep my palm facing forward as well. So lift as high as you can, keeping all those things happening. Drawing the belly button in, squeezing the glutes, raising the foot, keeping the hands in place. You should feel this in the glutes and in the abs with no resistance band. Keep it going for just a couple more wherever you're at. All right, and go ahead and let yourself rest. Roll the shoulders out a little bit, and we're going to switch sides. Lining up for this on the second side. Remember, if you need that towel underneath the knee, no shame there. I'm 42 and I want my knees to continue working for me for a long time, so I'm not ashamed to use this towel. So I'm going to come into my side plank again. I want to really draw my belly in. I want to make sure that I'm supported on one side, that my wrist is right underneath my shoulder or even a little bit further in. I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything unkind to the neck. So I'm going to pull my belly button in, squeeze my tush, and then lift the arm. So pulling my lower belly in, squeezing my glutes, that's when I'm going to lift and lower that leg. So I'm just trying to make sure that I can keep the palm facing forward, keep the toe pointing forward. So I really, really feel this in the side of my booty. Should feel it in the back of the booty and also in the legs supporting me, right? So if you think about kind of flattening your body as much as you can so that you're really keeping that wrist in line with the shoulder on both sides, you're keeping the hips stacked on top of one another. That's what we're going for here. Do you remember that scene in Star Wars where they were getting smushed in the trash compactor and they had to really make their bodies as narrow as possible? That's what we're doing. I don't think they were thinking about working their abs and glutes, but this is a really good way to practice good alignment and get a fiery workout. I hope that you're feeling this in your obliques on the side supporting you, and you might even be able to feel that little oblique crunch as you lift your leg. That's awesome. I'm so glad that those muscles are awake and alive. So keep it going for just a couple more wherever you're at. Great work. So we're going to go through that side plank with the side leg raise one more time. And if you didn't try adding your resistance band the first time, feel free to give it a shot now. So adding the resistance band to this, I'm going to bring it right above my knees. So coming into the side plank position again, I bet you can already kind of feel the pull from the band. So if this is a smaller lift than it was without the band, that is a-okay. Just do what feels right in your body today and let yourself progressively feel challenged over time. Remember, these don't all have to be the same, right? So I could do some with the band and some without, and that counts too. Take a moment to rest if you need it, or we're going to switch sides. I'm going to pull the belly in, squeeze the glutes, and extend that arm. Remember, I want to keep those toes pointed forward the whole time so it can really engage those outer hip muscles, the glutes, the abs, the obliques. You should really feel that in the side wall of your abs this time. Awesome job. Wherever you're at, just go ahead and give yourself a gentle cat stretch. So exhaling all of your air as you let the neck relax and you look towards your belly button. And then slowly inhaling, bringing the chin up, letting the abs drop and relax. Drop the belly into cow. Try that one more time. Big exhale. Reach the middle of your back towards the ceiling. Push through the fingertips. And then go ahead and let the belly drop back down. Let the abs relax. Nice job. Go ahead and let yourself grab some water. Take a good long sip. You earned it. I'm really hoping you can't see just how badly I'm sweating right now. Hang in there. You're doing fantastic. So I want the band back around the arches of my feet for this one. I'm going to lay down on my side. So again, if you need support for your head, definitely grab your towel or your roller. So I'm going to bring my bottom knee as high up as I can get it and kind of hug it in towards me. And then I'm going to take that bottom leg and straighten it. So you should be able to feel a pretty good amount of resistance in the back of your leg. So I should feel this in my glutes and in my hamstrings in the back of the thigh. But you can tell that you're really pulling against yourself here. So you really want to make sure you've got a hold on that bottom leg. Now, the greater range of motion I do in this exercise, the more I'm going to feel it. So if I just do this little pulse here, I can feel that. But if I really bring my knee all the way up and then I fully press through my heel and I keep my leg lifted the entire time, I am going to feel this mightily. So as much as I can, I'm going to keep my hip, knee, and ankle in a nice straight line as I'm pressing down and then also as I'm pulling in. So some of us will have a knee that wants to come out to one side or a foot that wants to turn. I'm trying to resist that happening. All right, let's go ahead and switch to the other side. So coming into this on the second side, again, I want to really pull that bottom knee up towards me. And if I can, I'm just going to hold on to that with my arm. And then I'm going to stomp through that heel. So really think about pressing with the heel rather than pointing the toe. And that band will stay in place, but then you'll also really feel it in the back of the leg. And the other thing I want to do, if I can, is keep my hips stacked on top of one another. Remember, just like with our clamshell, if I start to rotate too far back, then I'm going to feel this more in that TFL area or only in the front of the hip. We already did that dead bug exercise. We're really trying to work these hips, these abs from every direction today. So remember, you can do any of these exercises without the resistance band. You can try some reps with, some reps without. Just do what feels right in your body today. This is about you getting a great workout and nothing else. I'm not going to know if you have to stop halfway through and do a little rolling and come back. In fact, I would encourage you to do that. Fantastic job. So going through this a second time, this time we're going to add a leg lift onto it. So just stick with the first version if that was plenty for you. I'm going to hug that bottom knee towards me. And again, I'm going to press through the heel and then lift, lower, and then bring the knee back in. So stomp, lift, lower, bring it back in. I know this looks like some basic Jane Fonda workout. No offense to her because she's amazing. But this is really tough, right? So just do what you can. Just make sure that you're honoring your body today. And remember, this isn't about lifting the leg just as high as I can. This might feel really different on one side versus the other. Remember, just do what feels great in your body today, and you will get stronger over time. You will see that you get a little more even left to right. You are absolutely crushing this. We're going to come into that exercise on our second side. So I'm going to bring that bottom knee towards me. And then remember that stomp, lift, lower, and bring the knee back in. This is really tough for me with long legs and a resistance band. It's definitely adding up at this point, so I hope it is for you too. So I should feel this all down the back of my leg. I should feel this in my lower abs because I'm pulling the tummy in the whole time. And then I'm really squeezing my glutes, using them to help me stomp that leg and lift the leg to the side. So I hope that you can feel the fire in your booty. Amazing job. You made it through this entire workout. Go ahead and grab some water and we're going to cool down. So go ahead and lie down all the way onto your back. I'm going to bend both knees and bring the feet flat on the floor, but the heels don't have to be really close to my hips right now. I'm going to take one ankle and cross it in front of the opposite knee. And you should just feel a gentle stretch in the hip on the cross leg side. If you need more stretch, you can push into the inside of that thigh, or you can slide the heel that's on the floor a little closer to your hips. Either way, you should feel a little more in that hip. So once you've held that for a few seconds, go ahead and let yourself straighten the leg that's on the ground, and then I'm just going to let this hip drop open. So if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can come out of this, just straighten your legs, do what feels reasonable. But if this feels like a good stretch for your hip, then just go ahead and let yourself recline. Shouldn't feel anything sharp here in the knee. So if you are feeling something on either side, you could always just slide your towel or your foam roller underneath your knee to support it. Setting up for that on the second side, I'm going to bring both feet back on the floor again, cross the other leg in front of the opposite knee, and then just let that hip drop open. Again, if you need a little more stretch, you can take the heel that's on the floor, move it a little closer to your hips, or you could push gently on the inner thigh just to open that hip a little more. You should just feel a gentle stretch in your hip. You never want to force this. And then go ahead and let yourself slowly straighten the leg that's on the floor and just letting yourself drop into that tree pose. So for this second stretch, I'm going to again start with both feet on the floor. I'm going to hug one knee towards me. So I can either hug it on top of the shin or right behind the thigh, whichever works best for you. So bring it really close to your chest. And then I'm going to have you slowly straighten the leg that's on the floor. So you should feel a gentle pull in the back of the hip that you're pulling towards you. You may also feel a stretch on both sides of the thigh in the straight leg. And that straight leg doesn't have to be perfectly straight for you to feel this. It might be plenty to bend your knee 70 or 80%. You might get a really good stretch that way. And then after you've held for a few seconds, go ahead and take the knee that's hugging towards you. And I'm going to have you shift it to cross over the straight leg. Remember, if you feel anything on either side of the knee, just let yourself support it with a towel. And then go ahead and let yourself stretch your arms out to both sides so you really get a good stretch across your chest with this. So some of us are going to feel like we can really stretch really far, bring that knee almost down to the floor while keeping the shoulders down. And others of us, in order to keep the shoulders down, we're going to need to have that knee elevated. Let yourself decide how far you should twist based on whether or not you can keep your shoulders down and whether or not you're really feeling this in your hip. So setting up for that on the second side, I'm going to bring both feet flat on the floor, and then I'm going to bring that second knee towards me. Remember, holding on to the front of the shin or holding on right behind the knee, whichever feels better to you. And then go ahead and slowly start to straighten the other leg. Remember, for some of us, 70 or 80% straight is going to be just enough. And then for others of us, we're going to feel like we can fully straighten that leg, really press through the heel and feel a good stretch on both sides of the leg and the hip. So let yourself hold there for a few seconds, until you feel a little bit of release. And then I'm slowly going to drape that knee over the straight leg, remembering to keep the shoulders down on the ground. And that's going to help me decide how far I should twist. So reaching hands to opposite sides of the room, palms face up. I should get a really good stretch on my abs, on the obliques that we worked really hard today, as well as in through the chest muscles, which did get a bit of a workout too, right? And then go ahead and let yourself come back into center, and we're going to turn over. So we're going to do a runner's lunge stretch. So I've got one knee down on the floor, and then I've got that foot positioned so it's just a little bit ahead of the front knee. If it feels comfortable for me, I'm going to bring my hands down onto the floor. But if not, you can definitely use your foam roller to bring your chest up higher and give yourself a little more support. And then if your knee feels sensitive at all, remember to use that towel underneath it. And then I'm going to draw the belly button in, shift the hips forward, get a really good stretch in the front of the hip and the thigh on that back leg side. I should also feel a pretty good stretch on the inner thigh on that front leg. And then depending on how tight my hips are, I might also really feel this in the glutes, in the outside of the hip on that front leg. Remember not to force this. Just do it gently wherever it feels good to you. This should be like a 7 or 8 intensity out of 10. And then slowly let yourself push the hips back and switch sides. Starting in that kneeling position, I'm going to take the opposite foot and put it ahead of me, draw the belly button in, shift the hips forward. If it feels comfortable for me, then I'll bring the hands down to the floor. And if not, then I can use something to support my body, keep the chest lifted slightly. But I should feel that really good stretch in the front of the hip, in my abs, and then remember on the inner thigh on that front leg side. So if I need more stretch, I could always shift the hips forward a little bit more. Remember, I could also bring my hands down onto the floor. Just kind of meet your body where it's at right now. We worked these hips, we worked the glutes really hard today. So we really don't want to force this. Remember, this should feel like a 6 or 7 out of 10. And then slowly let yourself push back and come out of that. Thanks so much for working out with me today. I hope that you feel like you got a great workout, but I also hope that you feel like you're set up with some tips for better movement throughout the rest of your life. If you found this helpful, please consider sharing it with someone else you think would like it. And please subscribe to our channel so I can keep it going and growing. If you want some personalized support reaching your wellness goals, you can always reach out to me in the application link below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. For your help, you guys sit. Good boys, not sit. Wait. Good job, guys. Good job. Okay, one more.